Welcome friends! In my last video, we toured my 13,000-day-old realm. Today's video will focus on an entirely new world. After settling into this seed, I immediately began constructing a mob spawner, something I've always wanted to do on a fresh start. Having a build like this early on made for quick progress when it came time to do our enchanting. Just don't crouch by the hole, or creepers will blow you up. All of our gear is fully enchanted. Bee even infiltrated an ancient city and snagged us the Swift Sneak enchantment. She's my secret weapon, and honestly, I could not play this game the same without her. Which is why I've decided to build her a proper base. Not that I don't love our ramshackle assortment of junk, but I think it's about time we moved on. Searching around, I stumbled onto the perfect spot and began preparing for the project. Gathering some quartz from another portal, I set up underground. I also chose to build with concrete. So I threw together a redstone machine that hardens the blocks automatically. To be honest, I learned redstone from watching tutorials. So if you recognize the design I use, credit to the builders. I always end up doing a lot of unnecessary work when figuring out a build. So when it came time to landscape, I asked Bee for help. You know that meme where you leave a task for your friend, only to log on later and find that they have far exceeded your expectations? That's literally her. Now, I almost never make plans when I decide to build something. Like many things in life, I'm just kind of trying my best. That's why, at this point in the video, we already have the walls up. I got to that point in my edit where I became my own worst critic, and compulsively redesigned the entire video. So instead of showing you the entire process I went through to get here, let's pick up where I left off, by finishing the walls, floor, and roof. With all of the walls in place, I noticed how flat the build looks. So to break up the white concrete, I swapped out a few sections with polished diorite, and I think it's looking much better. Floors in this game are usually difficult for me to build. They just seem to always give me trouble. Also, floor doesn't even sound like a real word. Fluor. After outlining the rooms in deep slate, I laid out a neat looking pattern that I made from some quartz blocks. And I have nowhere near enough quartz. Okay, Fluor's done. Let's now shift our focus upwards. With 10 separate sections to complete, we have a lot of roof to build. I'm shaping a mix of deep slate blocks into a conical, castle-inspired design, patterned to match the texture from our floor. Given all that we have done so far, I'd say things still feel pretty plain. So the next step will be to layer in some details. Trim along the edges will make the walls seem more connected, adding a sense of solidity and depth. Even the placement of a few simple slabs or stairs can change up the entire geometry of a room. Okay, it took a bit of tinkering, but I managed to figure it out. The main construction is finally finished, which means we can move on to the part I enjoy most, the interior. I love figuring out where everything should go, and finding clever ways to fill the rooms and really make them feel furnished. You know, with like tables and stuff. Of course, no proper base is complete without the essentials. At the top of the list is a dedicated storage room. No more junk drawer nonsense. Bee demands that I give her ample space to store all of her treasure. I'll also need to build an auto smelting system, so she'll have a place to cook up all of the ore she brings home. Eventually, all throughout the base, each workstation will have its own special area. With the essentials in order, our base has really come to life. Everything has its proper place and purpose. Stepping back and looking at the finished result, I can really appreciate how far this project has come along. It feels good to finally have a place we can call home. And that brings this project to a close. There's still a bit of work I can do outside, but that'll be more of a casual task for another time. I'm almost never completely satisfied with anything I make. I tend to judge my creations way harsher than they deserve, just because they're a product of my own effort. But with all that said, I'm genuinely happy with how this one turned out. This video was definitely a challenge. And, for better or worse, it went through more than a few iterations before it finally made its way to you, dear viewer. So I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Hopefully, sooner rather than later. Bye now.